He's not here to wait around, Craig. He's not going to wait around. He said, I know it's crazy. It's only week 3, but I don't have time to wait around. Does he finish the season in Las Vegas?
No, I mean, but I told you guys this in July, that Davante Adams was going to be miserable there because they're not going to win. And the guy at this stage of his career wants to win. Thought he was being reunited with his college best friend in Derek Carr. That's the only reason he went to Vegas. We know how that ended. He's in New Orleans right now with the bad shoulder. But why is anybody surprised by this? Davante Adams came from a franchise where they had a chance, on paper at least, to win every year. Now he goes to a situation where they're 7-13 since he got there. You have an average quarterback. You have a head coach who's clearly in over his head, kicking a field goal down 8 with 2 minutes to go in a game last weekend. Davante Adams is going to demand a trade. I told you that back in July. The negative from my perspective is that Aaron Rodgers is hurt. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't hurt, the New York Jets are the obvious destination, and you reunite those two guys. So I think that's probably off the table. But there's a lot of teams out there that would get in line for Davante Adams to join them in late October to make that 2-month run towards the playoffs and beyond.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
That's
right.
the bottom line.
Now, would the Raiders ever make that trade?
Never.
Probably not.
No.
So I'm thinking more NFC teams. But the reality is that, I saw this 4 months ago.
But
because it's so obvious to me that Davante Adams went for a guy. That guy's no longer there. The team is not going to win a lot of games this year. No disrespect to Jimmy G. He wins everywhere he's been. He looked terrible on Sunday with 3 interceptions. If you're towards the end of your career and you've won a single Super Bowl and you're regarded as one of, if not the best wide receiver of your generation, you don't want to go out on a team that's playing meaningless games from December 1st on. He is going to ask for a trade, and he should.
Yeah, and what's troubling about this Raiders offense is Josh Jacobs. He hasn't played well either. He's only averaging 2.4 a pop. And so as much as you love the targets he's got, like he went 13 of 20 for 172 yards. That's great. He's getting his touches. But at the end of the day, this offense only survives and does well when Josh Jacobs has the football in his hand, and they haven't been yet to run the ball efficiently.
And let me just correct myself. Davante Adams has been to NFC Championship games.
Yeah.
He has not won a Super Bowl. So before you start yelling and screaming at me on Twitter, I've corrected myself. But he's going to ask out, and then you can start playing the game of who gets in line. Like what NFC team who it's not very good or right now has a chance to win and has first-round draft picks would want Davante Adams? The answer is all of them.
Yes.
I mean, that's the answer.
And I'm sure that correction will keep people from being mean to you on Twitter. I'm positive that's going to happen.
Special relationship.
Moving on to second and football. I want to see Jameis Winston. I love seeing Jameis Winston play.
You saw him last week.
I love to see Jameis Winston play
Why?
football.
Jameis Winston's not an NFL quarterback anymore.
It's so exciting.
They had a 17-point lead. They put Jameis Winston in the game. They lost.
Well, he got them into field goal position, and the kicker missed the kick.
That's fine, but Jameis Winston wasn't any good, and he's not any good. I'd rather see Taysom Hill quarterback that team without Derek Carr. Week to week, I think is an understatement. You've seen quarterbacks go down, all the pressure on that shoulder. He's very lucky and separated completely. And the fact he's got the AC joint injury, it means he can't do this because that's that joint right there. I'd be shocked. I know you can shoot it up with Toradol and you can play through that, but then you're looking at potential long-term damage to it. And he's the answer for them to win a division and try to win a playoff game, which he's never done in his career, and the Saints haven't done in a while. So to me, you sit him out a week, you're 2-1, you can go to 2-2, and everything's just going to be fine because it's really your division to lose.
And they have the defense that can kind of lead the way. That defense is good enough to kind of carry it through some wins. The problem is nobody believes in Winston anymore.
You can't.
I mean, he's 10 of 16. They didn't do anything once he was in the offense. He's a 1-2 as a starter until obviously the Red Rifle got in there. But if you're Derek Carr right now, you just got to get back out there and suck it up.
Now, there is one bit of good news for New Orleans here. Alvin Kamara does come back off the suspension for the beatdown of that guy in the elevator in Las Vegas.
You have to say that part.
Well, you have to watch why he was suspended.
It was a fight.
It was not a fight. That was a jumping. the guy hit up and got hands all over his face. It was despicable what Alvin and his buddies did to that guy.
He apologized.
Oh, so sorry for killing you. Yeah. But now, listen, you just go run heavy, try to win a low-scoring, close game, and then cross your fingers that it is a week-to-week thing, and you get Carr back in a couple weeks. But I don't think he plays this weekend.
No, I don't think he plays at all. And also, one thing to keep an eye on, the Eagles had one of the easiest schedules last year and ran through the regular season. And the Saints have one of the easiest schedules this year. So I think they can take some time with the combination of Hill and Winston, figure it out.
I will say this, because I don't like Jameis Winston all as a quarterback anymore. I think it's the game has passed him. Do you play him against Tampa?
Yes.
Because it's Tampa.
That's the only reason why you play him.
Like, if he's got one good game left inside that body of his, it would have to be against Tampa.
But if you're in that locker room for the Saints, you're like Jameis, just don't throw up the dubs, man. Don't eat the dubs.
Eat the dubs.
Just keep the dubs in your pocket, man. Just please.
Yeah. Well, I could see him playing because it's Tampa, but outside of that career's a wash.
Moving on to third and football. Willie?
Yeah.
You've lost some football games before as an offensive lineman. How does Mr. Bowles feel in that moment?
See, this is tough because Garrett Bowles is a penalty-prone offensive lineman. And how do I know that? Because I was one, too. Look at this right here. Total penalties, 46. Holding penalties, 26. Sacks allowed, 21. Part of the losing that he's dealt with is because of that offensive line and some of his input. So he can be upset with him being a part of a losing culture, but he's added to that. On top of that, when you lose, the worst thing I hate for ball players to do is talk about, oh, woe is me. There's other men in that locker room who have lost just like you and went through a 70-point shellacking just like you. So this is when you say, shut up, big fella, get back to work.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, of all people to talk, he's not the guy that should be talking. When you're fifth in penalties? I mean, by the way, I'm not going to lie to you, I've never heard his name before.
I thought we were going to empathize for this guy. I thought we were going to feel bad for him. No. This has got to be tough. Now we're just piling on. Kick him while he's down.
Yeah. Fifth most penalized player in the NFL since 2017.
Which is impossible.
I was on that list. I'm pretty sure I was up there, too.
It's so funny because
you're second.
Yeah, I'm third.
I saw that video yesterday just messing around on social media. And when I first saw it, I thought it was Chet from Weird Science, right? Which is an old reference. You have to go check it out. Trust me, I'm right on it.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was actually an athlete who was complaining about losing.
Yeah. But I mean, on the flip side of that, I haven't been a part of a losing culture, it weighs on you, man, because when you go to work, nobody's talking. People are walking around the hall with their hoodies and headphones on. Yeah. The training staff doesn't even ice you up no more. They just throw it at you.
Well,
so it's toxic.
We got much more coming your way. How to make an executive decision here. Do I care what Bill Belichick said about Taylor Swift? I don't. Headlines are coming up next. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.